Grand Rising. Grand Rising to all of you. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to the Morning Mental, a place where I put some things on your mind as you go through your day, utilizing the best means to get to anybody in this new society. No, we don't knock on your door no more like the Jehovah's Witnesses used to do, and y'all be trying to duck them, talking about don't open the door, just be quiet. No, we don't come through your mail slot as a piece of paper, a solicitation that's stuck to your door, stuck to your car. We don't do that. No, we don't stand on the corner with a bullhorn no more, holler at you while we standing on a box and just hope somebody hear us. We don't do that no more either. We don't take out full-page ads in what used to be called the newspaper. Remember the newspaper? Yeah, we don't do that no more either. We don't. Morning Mental. Instead, we utilize that which has been given to us, what you're holding in your hand, what you're staring at right now. Technology. Technology that gives us the ability to come into your home without asking. Give us the ability to come into your mind without asking. Gives us the ability to come into your soul without asking. So you have to be careful with this technology, because if you're not careful, you'll let the wrong person in. We're on the Morning Mental this morning. I see people still getting up in here. Some of us are on the plantation right now. That's cool. Some of y'all still at home on an extended vacation that you didn't ask for, but you have. As for me, this is the Morning Mental, and I'm back in the earth realm with y'all again. And I got a few things I just want to ask you, and then I'm going to leave. The first thing I'm going to do, as I've learned, is if you tuned in to listen to me and put something on your mind, then so be it. If you came here because you have your own agenda, trying to make friends, trying to network and all of that, shut that down. Commenting is no longer allowed. And if you cannot run your mouth, I'll see how many people don't hang around. I can understand that too. Because this is a crucible. This is a bowl of thought. This is where we crush misperceptions and we put out information so that we can shape the perception, so that you, as a child of the Most High, can move through your day in a reasonable, fashionable, logical fashion. So I welcome you to the Morning Mental. Got a few things I want to comment on, and then I'm going to get up out your hair. You know how we do. I don't stay long, but I want y'all to think about this, because remember, you're not crazy. They are. That's the topic this morning. You're not crazy. They are. No, sometimes you got to sit back and say, now they must think I'm crazy. Truth of the matter is, you're not crazy. They are. More interestingly enough is when you find out that not only are they crazy, but they in charge. There was an episode I remember when I was a kid. If you all remember the original Star Trek, not all these other iterations that have come where they just trying to milk the hell out of this franchise. They're still milking it 60 years later. But in the original series, before we had all this CGI and all this makeup trying to create new beings. Notice they always want to create new beings in this false universe where everybody got along just fine. There was an episode when Captain Kirk and crew, they went to this planet. They always go into some planet, just like white people always pulling up in somebody's country. And they were going to this place because it was an insane asylum. The whole planet was a mental hospital. Listen to the concept. The whole planet was a mental hospital. And they pulled up and they said, hey, we here just to make sure everything is good on the nutty planet. And so, you know, the dude comes on. Everything is great here. Glad to see you. Come on down. Your old friend at the nutty house, at the nut house. So, of course, those people who get the big paychecks, you know, the stars that there's, you know, that we all know who I'm talking about. Spock, Uhura, Chekhov, Sulu, you know, all the main characters. None of the extras. This is not the time for Ensign Johnson. If Ensign Johnson goes, there's going to be a murder before we get to the opening credits. But if it's the main stars like Uhura, and most of y'all don't know that when they say Lieutenant Uhuru, what that actually means. I'll holler Uhuru, and it actually means something Swahili, but we'll talk about that later. But Uhuru and Chekhov and all of the crew. So just the stars go down to check out the place. When they got down there, if y'all remember this episode, it turns out that the doctor, the real doctor, was a prisoner, and that the crazy folks had got loose and was running the whole joint. And they were all different types. And it took them a while to figure out that the crazy people was running the joint because they had shapeshifters. They had people who could look like you, walk like you, talk like you, act like you, even think like you, but they were not you. And they were shapeshifters. They could assume any form, and they just assumed the form of the good doctor to bait all the stars down there. Now, just because they had the stars, you already know they ain't gonna kill nobody. You know, even in a couple of episodes, they act like they killed the main character just to get a rise out of you. It was an act. It was a hoax. It was an act because they wanted to get a certain frame of mind out of you so that then they could make you feel a certain type of way. If you was in the studio audience or you was at home watching this whole thing go down, you was all broke up like, oh my God, I can't believe they killed so-and-so. And they let you stay on that emotional roller coaster. You were so broke up about it that whatever they told you after that, you believed it because you wanted to get back to a place of comfort. Y'all remember what happened? My God, this is not that long ago. But y'all remember what happened when they messed up and killed Mr. Spock? Do y'all remember when they killed Mr. Spock in the Wrath of Khan? Khan being a character from the original series who came back, and they killed Spock. They thought it was dramatic to kill Spock. Oh, hell to the no. The whole world was upset that a fictitious character by the name of Mr. Spock had died in the Wrath of Khan. The outcry was so great that they had to make a whole nother $1 million movie where they told this story where they raised Spock from the dead. Spock was resurrected. They had to come up with some way. Come on, where my Star Trek fans at? Y'all remember the Genesis Project? They could make worlds. Do y'all see how godlike these themes are? Well, we too appear to be living in an insane asylum where the crazy people are the ones running shit. So this morning, if I have to put a title on the Morning Mental, the question is, who's crazy? Me or you? Well, let's talk about it for a few seconds. So this morning, The first thing that landed on my doorstep was I'm watching an interesting display of systemic racism play out right in front of you. You see, systemic racism is not racism that's directed at an individual. Systemic racism is racism that's directed wholeheartedly at the people on a whole. So no one can specifically say, well, I'm a victim of systemic racism. How can you be a victim of racism that is systematically directed at everyone of a certain group? It has become quite apparent to me that mainstream media in America, and it's strange because it's only in America that I'm seeing this. Mainstream media in America they no longer tell you the truth. We know that. But they also have become selectively amnesiatic. They have selective amnesia about certain stories, topics, and issues, or they tend to pretend like stuff just doesn't happen anymore. And then when someone in the public brings it up and makes enough noise about it, they act like, oh, what, aren't you the news? Aren't you supposed to have journalistic instincts? Didn't you go to school to learn how to root out the story? Don't you beat the streets to get the information from the common man and woman on the street? No, you don't. You sit in boardrooms and meeting rooms and you put together this false narrative, and then you think about what pieces you need from the public to make it fit, because he who controls the information controls the minds of the people, and a misinformed people make misinformed decisions. Like y'all are making some misinformed decisions right now because you're still playing the ritual of the election. Yes, it's all one big show. Mainstream media is making a lot of money off of brainwashing you into thinking that two feeble old white men who have wrecked this world thus far, that two of those types of creatures are fit to lead you into the next episode of doom. And y'all falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. Why? Because it's slickly packaged, because the television is the best mind control device that's ever been devised. That is why they don't want anyone competing with it. The invention of the internet, the invention of live streaming, the invention of what I'm doing right now is a direct threat to their controlled system. See, ain't no brakes over here. You can't stop us over here. So they have to do the only thing they can do. You have to toss a wrench into the machine. I found it interesting that mainstream media did not have any problem developing amnesia around the Breonna Taylor situation the moment that the NFAC did not burn down Louisville, Kentucky. Up until that point, they made sure that they kept an eye on us because they wanted to make sure that that would have been that would have fit their narrative, destructive black people. That didn't happen. But when we went to war on their wallets and cost them $165 million and lost revenue and virtually made the Kentucky Derby an event that only the horses attended, cost them $13.5 million in revenue from the casinos, and avoided getting anybody killed, hurt, shot, or property destroyed. They didn't want to see that. They didn't want to hear that because that was too intelligent. We didn't act like what they wanted us to act like to fit their narrative. So they lost interest in us. But they didn't lose interest in keeping an eye on the Breonna Taylor situation. And as the truth came out of just how fucked up and just how much information was withheld and just how just right about white the situation was handled, mainstream media tried to ignore it at first. Mainstream media tried to downplay. Oh, that's it. We got these charges filed and yay, we should all be happy. Motherfuckers wasn't hearing that, was they? We on the morning mental for real, y'all. And so the truth started to come out. Members of the grand jury decided that this shit won't right. We got to talk about this. People was trying to figure out how the fuck do you charge somebody for shooting the walls, but there's no charges for shooting the. Okay, I'm confused. Mm-hmm. Now, mainstream media, if you've been paying attention, has been doing damage control ever since a judge has ordered the unsealing of those records of the grand jury, which are normally secret, and has allowed any member of the grand jury to speak to the public. Oh, they know something's coming. So they're doing damage control. I'll show you what I mean. Mainstream media had the audacity, ABC, to put one of the police officers in a special interview, face to face. We sitting down, talking about he breaks his silence. He wasn't breaking no damn silence. He's out there trying to get in front of what's about to come out. And then if that wasn't bad enough, then MSNBC turns around and does a sit down with the house nigga himself. I have to use that term because that's what it is. I'm sorry. I can't think of no other way to say it. The Kentucky Attorney General, they sat down with him because now they're trying to do damage control around him because he became the subject of a joke on Saturday Night Live, and Megan Thee Stallion actually came out and played a clip by Tamika Mallory where she called him the equivalent of the house Negro that, lived in the house with the master and took care of his horses and breastfed his children and fed him and, did all those things that house Negroes did, who were still slaves. He's doing damage control, but he did more damage than control because the only thing he did was highlighted his unusual upbringing of what happens when you don't grow up around your own people and you kiss up to the master who rewarded you by putting you in the position as a puppet. I love how mainstream media is. He's the first independently elected. He wasn't independently nothing. He was selected. It was a well-known fact in Kentucky that he was the protege of Mitch McConnell, the Republican majority leader, best friends to Donald Trump, who doesn't give a damn about anything that looks like us. But they're doing damage control. I find it interesting that they're doing damage control because they have their minds all on that. But when they tell the story, they try to act like this case just rolled out under normal circumstances, was handled under normal circumstances. They like to skip over the fact that those people were in the streets protesting for over 150 days, that the black militia had to threaten to come to town and march up and down the damn street and threaten to burn the goddamn place down just to get transparency into the case. They paid off the family handsomely so that they would stay quiet and also let them collect on $6-7 million in GoFundMe. They paid everybody off because money has a way of shutting people up. But you don't hear anything else about the intricacies of moving toward justice in the killing of Breonna Taylor because mainstream media, which drives the narrative, has chosen not to push that narrative no more. But remember what I said, this is systemic racism at its best. Don't believe me? Listen to this. In California, there's a 5-year-old who got a hold of her father's gun, messed around and shot another 5-year-old. The dad took the child to the hospital. And then as the dad was trying to leave the hospital, black man, the police tried to detain him, when he was just dropping the kid off at the hospital. The police claimed there was a high-speed chase. They chased him down and they apprehended the black man and arrested him and then charged him, watch this, for allowing the child to get their hands on the gun and reckless endangerment of a child, access to a weapon, not to mention evading police, resisting arrest, and all the other shit that comes along with it. Okay, so you blame the parent for the child getting the gun. Okay. Everybody on that side of the story is black. But what about Kyle Rittenhouse's mama? She bought a weapon for her son, 17 years old, a semi-automatic weapon that he wasn't supposed to have, put him in the car, drove him to the next state, put him in the situation, and he fucked around and killed some people, and y'all done put together a GoFundMe to get the boy out and praising him as a hero, and didn't do shit to the moms. Well, I'm confused, but then again, that's systemic racism in your face. You see, the truth hurts. And when the truth hurts, well, when we were growing up, y'all remember the vampire movies? I'm on my morning mental, in case you're wondering. Grand rising to all of you. Welcome. I just came to hang out with you for a few minutes and put something on your mind rather than the meaningless bullshit that you'll get from puppet control black radio, because they're just a bunch of minstrels with microphones. I'm sorry. I got to call you out. I hope none of y'all ever invite me on your show, because I'm the walking truth, and I will walk in that motherfucker and tell you about yourself first and then say, do you want me to stay? Because that's what black power does when you invite it into your face. Either you're authentic or you are fake. And I have become convinced that everyone who sits in a prominent role in black radio, black media, you are fake, you are puppets, and you're more concerned with your job and maintaining your position in Master's house than being true journalists and pushing the issue and say, can we please talk about what's happening in the black community? Because there's some shit going on down there, and we can't keep ignoring it. If we do, it will eventually show up at our doorstep. I wonder what the good people at CNN would do if the NFAC came to you. MSNBC, Rockefeller Plaza in New York, what would you do if the NFAC pulled up to your door? ABC, what would you do if the NFAC made you the subject of our next endeavor? Not a story for you to come cover, but for you to cover yourself. You see, what most people don't realize is the cowardness that is in the blood of most people has a way of boiling up when you are face to face with that which deep down inside you truly fear. It can be a person, it can be an organization, it can be a thing. Either way, when you come face to face with it, you cannot control the DNA that has your fear in it. So, if you all noticed, for as much shit as most people talk, you're not strong enough to walk through 500-600 black people with guns on your way to work. You're not going to try to patronize an establishment that you have every right to go into and no one is stopping you from entering. You just got to get through all these guns. You see, that's what happened at the Kentucky Derby. When they found out, oh, we wasn't going to stop the Derby, but you had to get through us to get to the Derby. They told them white people, stay away. This shit right here, look, because we know y'all gonna be scared. It wasn't the fear that nothing wasn't gonna happen. It's that they're afraid. So I wonder how productive a day it would be at MSNBC, ABC, CNN, and any other news agency that is out here spinning these bullshit ass narratives if you found your facilities surrounded by 1,000 black people with guns. Would you then come out and have a conversation realistically with us? Oh, I know. You don't think it could happen. But you continue to pursue this mind-washing, brainwashing, mistelling of the current state of things in America. And then when you try to fit things into a narrative that doesn't fit, you just ignore it. You see, you want to paint this false narrative that black militia is standing around waiting to fight white militia over a voting situation. Like we care. We're not right or left. I keep telling you, we're not political. We are for our people. And that doesn't make a difference what side of the coin you stand on. if you're not about the preservation of the black race, if you're not about the elevation of the black race, if you're not about the reparations of the black race, if you're not about the restitution of the black race, if you don't stand in support of a global apology for the institution of slavery that existed from Portugal through the Atlantic slave trade for the black race, if you're not a part of any of that, then you are against us. I hate to say it. If you don't support that, we're not talking about allies and people who say, why you lump everybody together? I don't lump everybody together. Y'all don't forgot what Muhammad Ali said. Muhammad Ali said it eloquently best. If 10,000 snakes coming down the hill to kill me, and you tell me that there's 7 or 8 that's in there that's down for me, you think I'm going to take the time to figure out which ones is down for me when I know the majority of them are on their way down there to kill me? No, 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 no. It's not up to me to figure it out. It's not up to me for y'all to keep asking me, well, what are you going to do about racism? It's not what I'm going to do about it. What are you going to do about it? You created it. You maintained it. You profited off of it. What are you going to do? When I say talk to your people, white people, I'm telling you to turn around and have conversations at the dinner table, in the bedroom, and in all the little secret places where y'all go. But they don't want to hear that either, because they got a name for you too. Y'all know what it is. You're an in lover. Just because you're trying to talk sense into people for their own shortcomings, do not want to acknowledge the fact you don't own this world. You don't control us. You don't control anything. You live under the false perception that you control something only because the people that you think you have control of go along with it. In a complete world of anarchy, nobody would obey any laws. In a complete world of anarchy, you take what you want by force. In a complete world of anarchy, justice is just what you say it is. It's how you feel at that moment. He did what? Situation over. Anarchy. And for all the people who think, well, we got all these weapons and we got all that you got can easily be turned over to we took. You understand what I'm saying? Because you don't want what's on the other side of what you have right now. So the question that I want to raise this morning, because I know the truth hurts. Last night was a prime example. If you have not been watching the series, The Nephilim, The Pyramid of the Apocalypse, it got so brutal last night. Somebody was so in their feelings last night that they had to pull the plug. But someone gave me a interesting piece of information. Can I share this with my folks? They said, did it ever occur to you, Jay, that it's not them shutting you down? Could it be that you're speaking on behalf of the Creator with so much power that you're short-circuiting the system, that you have become an entity within their system, that you overwhelm their servers, you overwhelm their database, you're speaking power on their network that short circuits the network, that it's not them interfering with you. It is you interfering with their AI. It is you disrupting their Python code. It is you that are overheating the servers. It is you that's causing the connections. In other words, you're breaking the internet. Well, it ain't me. I'm just speaking on behalf of the one who sent me to talk. Truth hurts, though. They pull a plug on you. Y'all thought I was joking when I told you this is the most interrupted, the most censored piece of information in all of social media. I have to ask this question, though, mainstream media, since you won't tell me. Who whipped Mitch McConnell's ass? Did y'all see the picture of Mitch? Somebody fucked Mitch up. I love when congressmen and senators show up with Band-Aids and lumps on the head, and you're like, why are you up here trying to sound all dignified when it looked like somebody took your ass outside and be like, look here, bruh, here's the situation, and gave him the business. Now he on TV trying to talk about the debates and the election and the whole 9 yards. And he got somebody whipped his ass. Y'all go look at the pictures. He claimed he all right though. They want to talk about that, but they're not talking about some other things. NASA landed on an asteroid. That's what they told you. They said they put a spaceship on a rock so they could figure out what the rock is. Why you want to figure out what it is? Is it coming this way or not? That's the only thing you need to be worried about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they told you about that. What they haven't told you about are the people who are now taking pictures, since NASA wants to talk about something. How come they're not talking about all of you all who are getting up around 4 a.m. in the morning and going outside and seeing this weird glow in the sky? It looks like a sunrise that's about to come up, but the sun isn't coming up for a while. There was a purple haze, a glow right before sunrise over Ohio that somebody sent me a picture of. Somebody sent me a picture this morning from California where there was this weird glow coming from the west where it looked like the sun was about to rise. Somebody else sent me a picture. I'm going to keep going. I got picture after picture after picture after picture that shows that something right before sunrise, something else rises. Doesn't rise up as high as our sun, but it's there in the sky. For those of you all who've seen the sky, matter of fact, I haven't seen the sky in a week. Every morning it's the same routine. Even though at night it might be crystal clear, somewhere around about 4, 5, they spray the skies, and they've gotten good at it now. It used to be they didn't know how it was working. They were trying to fix it up, but now they got it down to a science. Now around about 4 a.m., jets that you cannot see that fly at a very high altitude that's been reserved for the military with no lights on, flies over you and dumps accelerants and dumps aerosols into the troposphere. By the time the sun comes up, it has formed a cloud cover that blankets out the sunrise. They don't want you to see the sunrise. And then maybe if you good, the cloud cover might break about now, round about now, and you might get a glimpse of the sun. But don't worry, no matter where the sun goes, there's clouds in front of it. And then come evening time, there's more clouds and you don't see. So it's gone down. So what is it that's up there that they don't want you to see? Well, to use the word from my good friend down in Shreveport, Louisiana, they say sleep is for the rich. I'm going to rephrase that. Sleep is for the people who don't know what the hell is going on. Because if you were awake at these times and you had enough money and you were rich, you wouldn't be sleeping. You would be doing what I did back in December of 2019. Y'all remember the video where I paid the guy in the jet to take me up to 65,000 feet? If that video is on YouTube now because they erased it off of Instagram. But in that video, we filmed above 65,000 feet, above the multiple cloud layers that they have created. It's all on video. And when we got to the top, if you remember the video, as soon as we broke through the last layer of clouds, we saw the sky in all its glory, like in the Matrix. Remember the time when they broke up through the clouds right before Neo went down to meet the Matrix once and for all, when he met the head dude, the head entity? They broke through the clouds and it was a beautiful blue sky, and right next to the sun, there was this object. Y'all remember the video. If not, please go watch it again. It's on my YouTube channel. So what are they hiding? I mean, at the end of the day, why would you hide it? Because you can't do nothing about it. And whatever it is, it's beyond your control. And the last thing you want to do is give a bunch of people that you have control over, who have given you control over them, is for them to realize that you've been lying this whole time and that you don't have any control over this, which means you ain't no different than the rest of us, which means why should we listen to you? Things are going to turn out the way they are, one way or the other. Well, maybe somebody has seen this before. Maybe somebody has written about this before. Then we start doing our research. Then we start realizing the wool that's been pulled over our eyes. Then we realize you've been lying to us about everything from religion to who everybody is to who we are. Then we realize who you really are. And then we realize that here we are in the last days, and here's some shit come that we should have been prepared for. But because of your ass, we are in a position where You already know you fucked, and now we fucked with you. Now all of a sudden we are back in anarchy again. So you think if you hide it, that no one will be able to experience what's going on or put it together. But then again, you insult the intelligence of those people who live on this planet as if we're not smart enough to figure out that the sun is integral to the survival of this world. Unless you're not of this world, unless you don't care about this world or its inhabitants. Isn't it obvious to y'all that there's certain species on this planet that don't seem to get along with anything, not anyone, anything, murder the animals, pollute the water, kill the people, and consume all the resources, and then act like they're not doing anything? Come on now, what kind of psychotic pathology is that? There have been colors in the night sky before sunrise. Yeah. As a matter of fact, mainstream media is also trying to push a narrative where they leave out the obvious. I'll give you an example. There is a high school in the racist state of Indiana, which we talked about before, where there is an incident that has reached the news. They got to put some type of damage control on it. The yearbook came out for Brown County High School, and Brown County High School has a picture of a brother playing basketball, and what they put under his name was the black guy. Not his name, nothing like that. Now they're trying to act like they don't know how that happened. High school people who remember high school, remember the yearbook committee? Y'all remember that? Remember being the editor of the yearbook, all that prestige? Remember being a photographer for the yearbook? Remember when the yearbook got put together when you graduated? For those of y'all that did, the yearbook is not something that you just made a mistake about. The yearbook is something that's very well thought out. And when you were in high school, just like in life, by the time you become a senior, you know everybody. You know all the teachers. You know politics. You know dirty secrets. You know everything. You know who is smart and who bought their way to graduation. So you know these things. So how is it that a picture got published in a yearbook that everybody bought and everyone's okay with the black guy? Here's why. They reported this story in mainstream media, but what they didn't tell you, that this school only has 577 students. Y'all stay with me. School only has 577 students. Hell, my graduating class was over 1,000 students. The seniors alone, when I graduated, there was like 1,200 of us. We had a huge graduating class, black people, huge. So this school, the whole school, was only 577 students. And if the whole school is only 577 students, and you break them down to freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, then that means that that's not a big school at all. But what they don't tell you is that that school is 92.2% white. These are the same white people who have a problem when I say that we should be able to have our own nation where it's just black folks. Not saying you can't come and be a tourist. Not saying you can't come and spend your money there. Not saying you can't come and partake in whatever is there to offer. But it would be owned and operated and controlled and defended and fed and everything by black folks. You have a problem with that, yet you think we're too stupid to see that that's exactly the kind of country that you have tried to build, and you're almost there. When I see towns that are 95% white, 92% white, you're already almost white, and you got a problem with the few blacks or anyone else that lives there. Yet you got a problem when other races want to have their own, when other races want to have their own space. You see, most of you all are too young to remember this, but I'm not. I remember when they first started integrating schools, because I remember I was one of those children that was bussed across town so that they could integrate us. I remember when I went to an all black school and we had one or two white kids. They never talked. They were always quiet. They had no friends, and we didn't relate to them and they couldn't relate to us. The strange thing about it was, we didn't fuck with them. because they knew they were 2 sentences, 1 word away from the worst ass whipping of their life. And they were just as fearful to be there as we were about getting sent cross town to some white school where everybody looking at us, because we know whenever we are the minority, the majority will always abuse the minority. That goes for anybody, black, white, male, female. I've been in situations where the ratio of men to women is ridiculous. 100 men for every 1 woman. I felt sorry for the sisters, what they had to put up with. But I've also been in situations, brothers, where the ratio of women to men has been 50-1. So brothers is now, we not the majority. There's women every, and when women, y'all don't know this now, here come a little bit of comedy on the Morning Mental. When women are the dominant population and men are scarce, women start acting like men. Okay, here go the story. Let me tell y'all what happened. I got to tell y'all this on the Morning Mental. We're talking back around 90, 92. No, this was 94. In 1994, I was stationed in El Paso, Texas, at Fort Bliss, Texas. I was assigned to the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment, which is a forward deployed desert combat fighting unit. 8,000 men, no women, frontline deployed combat. And the interesting thing was, we were divided into what they call squadrons, and our squadrons were massive. One squadron may be about 2,000 bruhs, 2,000 men. I'm going to say not just bruhs, but 2,000 men. And what we used to do, there were 3 squadrons. There was Tiger Squadron, which is what I was a member of. We had the HHT regiment. But what would happen is each squadron would have to rotate out to go to Death Valley in California for training, live fire training. Everybody didn't go. They sent 1 squadron at a time. So if your squadron went, that meant that you left and you were gone for about 90 days. So that meant that your families was left behind. So that means that all your girlfriends, all the wives that can never get out, all of the girl crews that had to kind of be mindful and look out for so and so, so they wouldn't know, that type of situation. It's the Army. Come on. And when all them bruhs used to leave, where do you think all the women ended up? Right. So back in 94, this was back during the Rump Shaker era. Y'all remember Rump Shaker? This was back during the Carl Kanai era. Y'all remember Carl Kanai? This was back during the cross colors craze. Y'all remember cross colors? Y'all remember none of that? Do your research. I slid myself up to Del Nortes. Del Nortes, meaning the North, was the NCO club that is on the Sergeant Major's Academy on Biggs Army Airfield in El Paso, for those who know what I'm talking about. Grown folks. This was a grown folks spot. You had to dress to a 9. You couldn't come in there with your pants hanging down and a baseball cap. You had to have on the best of the best, sisters and brothers. So I got in my best of my best and I slid on over to Del Nortes. I come in and I'm on the prowl. I'm single and I'm a soldier and I look good and I know it. So I'm sliding up in there. But when I pulled up in the spot, the music was jumping. The place was bumping. People were socializing. And when I came in, the dance floor was packed. We used to dance back then. The dance floor was jumping and bumping. And so I went as smoothly as I could. And I went to the bar. Y'all know we go to the bar first, right? And I got me a cup of what I liked to drink back then. And I came and I was standing like a lion, or standing at, when you first come down out the jungle, the lion was stand there and scope out. You ever notice that the lion just never attacks? He got to scope things out. So I'm standing, bruh, holler at me, bruh. This is what we used to do back when we appreciated our sisters and we appreciated socializing, and we didn't have cell phones and all that to distract us. You had to know the art of socializing. You had to know the art of courting a woman. You had to know how to approach a sister. A lot of us don't know how to do that today. So I go in, y'all. I'm on the Morning Mental. And I'm standing on the side of the dance floor because I'm looking. That's what we do. We come in and we look. And I'm trying to figure out who did I have enough nerve and a smooth enough rap to pull up on and get them on the dance floor. That was it. Just wanted to dance. A strange thing happened. I've been there many times. And I know that because of the volume of bruhs, that sisters used to be on their game, but sisters could afford to be picky. But I had heard through the grapevine that one of the squadrons were gone for 3 months. And so I pulled up in the club and I'm standing on the side and I'm looking at, wow, there's a lot of people out here dancing. That's unusual. And they were getting it in. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, this woman approaches me. And back in the day, that didn't happen, fellas. Women did not approach men like that. They didn't. I mean, back in those days, we valued sisters to the point where the sister was the goal and the prize. Matter of fact, if y'all don't know what a Sadie Mae Hawkins dance was, that was when we used to go to a party and they would put the men on one side, sisters on the other, and they would tell the sisters to go down the floor and choose the man that they wanted to be with. And you didn't know who they was going to choose. You got even shocked when you got chose. They don't do that no more. Everybody now is just, they don't know how to socialize no more. And so I'm standing there and this woman approaches me. And she says, excuse me, but would you like to dance? I'm looking around like, who's she talking to? Talking to me? And she was a very beautiful woman. And I'm going, I thought it was a setup. And I said, well, sure. How about as soon as this song goes off, you and I hit the dance floor. And before we could finish, before she had an opportunity to say, okay, another sister cut in and said, and when you get done dancing with her, can you dance with me? I'm like, whoa. Now I'm giving credit where credit is not due. I was giving credit to the cologne I was wearing. I was giving credit to the clothes I was wearing. I was giving credit to the fact that maybe it was just brown skin brother night. I don't know, but I'm thinking I must be all that in a bag of chips without the dip. The dip is on the way because all of the sisters is on J. That's what I was thinking. This never happened in this place. But so I'm thinking, well, yeah, let me take care of her first and I'm going to get to you. That's how I'm all full of me now. And so I get on the dance floor and I'm dancing with this woman. And contrary to what I used to get it in. I knew a couple of moves. We out there doing, y'all, let me help you young brothers out. Sisters could tell a lot about a brother by the way he moved on the dance floor. I'm just keeping the grown folk right here on sister OGs holler at me. We could watch. They used to watch. Remember the song? I wonder why he's the greatest dancer. That's why, because they could look at a brother and tell by how much rhythm you had, how coordinated you was, how much grace you had, how you swiveled and dipped and snaked and all of that. They could look and be like, girl, So I'm on the dance floor doing my thing with old girl. And then I noticed something. Homegirl wanted to keep me on the dance floor to the next song and the next song and the next song. And I couldn't understand why. And I'm like, nah, I'm tired. Let me go. I gotta go back to the bar. And I left. And while I was at the bar, there was 2 or 3 other brothers standing there and they had this weird look on their face. And I said, brothers, what's wrong? And they were holding their shirts and looking around. And one of them says, I feel so vulnerable. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? He said, look around you, bruh. And I started looking. And then I realized there weren't that many men in the club, but there were so many women. They were lining the walls like guys. They was clumped together in groups like guys do. They were leaning, pointing, and talking and pointing at dudes. Some of them was being aggressive about it. Brothers was telling women, no, I don't want to dance. But why you don't want to dance with me? They were acting like the men. And when I realized that the reason that I was getting approached so much wasn't because of who I was, and not because of what I was wearing, not because of the cologne I chose, not because of what I was driving, which you couldn't see. It was because I was rare. There weren't that many. And I learned something. I'm like, wow, women can be just like men in the right situation. I told you all of that to tell you this. We're in a situation where we're the ones that are outnumbered. We're the ones that are standing on the side trying to figure out why we're being treated a certain way. When the truth of the matter is, whoever the dominant group is has the ability to treat you with respect or disrespect. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it until you get your numbers up. I find it interesting that they published a story and white people are issuing the same old excuses. We're going to go back and we're going to try to figure out how this happened. Figure it out. They even said that they would reprint all the yearbook to fix it and that they would pay for it. No, that's not how you fix it. The way you fix it is you find out whose child came from what family that's still teaching them white superiority and white privilege and making a joke out of it and thinking that black people are too stupid to see, understand, and respond to what you've done. Because that's what's new in the formula today. Now, I've told you all those things because you can find all of them in mainstream media this morning. But what you can't find in mainstream media this morning, and I searched, nothing about Nigeria, nothing about the killings, nothing about the half-assed response from the Nigerian government, nothing. No outrage from the United States, no outrage from the United Nations, no outrage from any ally of the United States, no outrage from China, no outrage from France, no outrage from the South Pacific, no outrage from South America, Canada, or the United States. The videos are 10 times worse than anything that has come out of the United States. But unless Western society can find a way to make themselves look good and make you take pity on them and their own kind, they don't put this in front of the minds of the world. George Floyd's death was tragic. The man had a knee placed on his neck and it killed him. That video was shown worldwide. People marched worldwide. Businesses used it as an excuse to make commercials to talk about diversity and inclusion, which is a lie. When they shot Walter Scott in the back as he was running away for child support, that video was shown worldwide. And there was even the state of South Carolina rolled out the red carpet and gave him a hero's funeral. I know I was there. But what has come out of Nigeria, people's brains blowed out, blood everywhere, peaceful protesters enclosed and executed by the government. There's nothing about that in mainstream media today. There's not one black journalist that has broken the rules and broken ranks to talk about it. Most importantly, and I'm going to say this, I find it interesting that the Nigerian population in the United States, you know, the ones that done came over here and pretend like they not from Nigeria no more, the ones that want to be just like the white folks so badly that they come over here and look down their nose at African Americans and other people from other ethnicities. You ain't heard nothing from them either. You don't see them rallying together to get on a plane, to go back. You don't see that. There's nothing about it in mainstream media. If that's not evidence of a biased, racially systemic system, then you a goddamn fool. But if you thought that was glaring, how about this? There's nothing in mainstream media about the not fucking around coalition's impact on black history. Even though every other media agency around the world has the NFAC as a featured story because they admire what they see black people doing over here, in spite of mainstream media. Even though CNN came out on October the 4th and sat down and had a so-called interview, you ain't seen that interview yet, and you probably never will. Because they got it back to their lab and said, this does not fit our narrative. Why? Because we are a systemically racist organization. We are controlled. Our investors, our handlers are racist. But we have to put on this face. We have token black folks who do a good job in making you think that we're all integrated. The same way they prop up a black person as the police chief to make you think that the police gives a damn about black people when policing came out of slave patrols. I ask the same question again. Since you won't talk about us or give us credit for what we've done, or even give black people something to feel good about that has nothing to do with white people, maybe we should just descend on media and businesses, not police stations, not crime scenes, not governors' houses. You see, we learned a lesson in Louisville that if we hit you in your pockets, we get your attention. Because you don't give a damn about what's going on in the streets or the systemic racism that we continue to encounter as long as you can keep making your money. You see, I still remember the face on the Middle Eastern gentleman who was running the little shop when we came down to Atlanta to the strip mall fully armed for the funeral of Hassim Nzinga of the Black Panther Party. I remember how when they went over and tried to interview the shop owner who came out and who was all on the phone trying to call the police, and the police were telling him they're not doing nothing wrong. And he said, "This is not the America I know. You're not even from America. Fuck you talking about? This ain't the America you know. You don't know the Constitution, do you? You haven't read it. No, because you got a green card and came over here and you're doing the one thing you came to do, make money off of people and send it back home to your broke ass family overseas. That's all you care about. Since all y'all seem to care about is making money, then how about this? It's going to be hard for you to make money. It's going to be hard for you to do your reporting when you have thousands of armed, legally armed black folks posted around the vicinity of your business. So your coworkers are afraid to come to work. People are afraid to come to your businesses. When you start losing money, then I bet we be breaking news then, because then all of a sudden you'll begin to understand that this is a new day and age. And we might look like the same old, but inside of our spirit, inside of our soul, inside of our ancestral blood, tick tock, ring, the alarm has gone off. So you continue to talk about stuff that you think you can skirt around us. Don't talk about Nigeria, because it'll be here soon. And don't talk about the NFAC, because they'll be at your door soon too. What did you think was going to happen? Well, maybe that's the whole problem. You didn't think, and you didn't know anything was going to happen. If you talk to your white counterparts in other countries, you better listen to what they're telling you. That's why they're doing stories. They want the people in Germany, the Netherlands, Sweden, the UK, all down through the United Arab Emirates, France, Spain, Morocco, all down through Greece, Northern Africa, Southern Africa, all down through Brazil, Argentina, Chile, all out in the South Pacific, Guam, the Philippines, even in Hong Kong. They know and are being told about what black folks are doing. But you keep your head in the sand and remember this, and this is the end of my morning mental. When you have your head in the sand, you have your ass stuck in the air. And I was raised and always told, if you hang your ass out there long enough, somebody gonna run up in it. And if you hang it out there too long, 2-3 people gonna run up in it, and you won't see it coming. You can interpret that any way you like. So on behalf of me and the members of the NFAC and the 57 million descendants of African slavery and the other millions who have immigrated here for what they thought was going to be a better way of life and have found out that y'all don't separate us, so why should we? Let me simply say as I bid you all a good morning. Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't deceive yourselves, because you make a fool out of yourself. And the last thing you want is to not see it coming. I bid y'all shalom. And this is my morning mental.